Hello everyone, welcome to Fiber Floozie Crafts. My name is Jill and I'm going to show you how I made this cover that goes on a composition notebook. So this is going to be part one, and I just want you to know that this is also going to be a beginner video. I thought this would be a great way to introduce some people how to start with left-handed beginner crochet. Let's get started. Now this notebook I have made with number 4 weight yarn. Any number 4 weight yarn will be fine. I made a latch for it, which connects right here in the center of pretty much in the center. I mean, it doesn't have to be exact, wherever you want to put it, with a button. This one I'm just using a little clear plastic button. I made this latch. This one I made with some tassels. You don't have to use the tassels if you don't want. There's other things. We'll talk about how we can bling it up after we get done. And so this is like the size of a bookmark, and it goes around and it is sewn on, and I use thread to sew it to the back. And then on the inside here, I put a pin loop where I can put a pin in it. All right, now the notebook just goes right in here. We're going to sew these sides together. The notebook just goes right into the flap that we make on either side, and then it latches and you have a cover. This is just a beginner. There's a lot of ways you can do this notebook. There's probably some other videos out there on how to make a notebook cover. I just thought this would be a wonderful thing to make that I can sell in my craft fair booth. Now, some of the things you're going to need. You'll need a size G or a 4.25 millimeter hook, a pin to mark where you're at on the pattern, a darning needle to sew in your ends, some sort of a tape measure, retractable or otherwise. And I use some of these markers here. This one is a pretty common one you can get in a lot of places. Looks like a safety pin. These are plastic. These are little metal ones that I use. These are called light bulb, what I call light bulb. And they open just like a paper clip. You could even use a paper clip. They open like a safety pin, I meant to say. Okay, little pair of scissors, and we're good to go. And you use whatever kind of, today I'm using a boy crochet hook with a cover ergonomic cushion on it. Okay, now I'm going to start with this Lion Brand jeans yarn. Again, it's in a number 4 weight. I'm going to put that off to the side, pull out enough that we got something to work with. We're going to start by making a loop. So I'm going to have that in my hand. Again, I'm left-handed. Wrap that over my finger, bring it back around and over again. I'm going to pull that back piece through that hoop and make my loop. Put it on my needle right like that. Pull our working yarn to tighten it up. Now, this is going to be your knot. This is not going to be used. That first stitch is not used, it's our knot. To hold my yarn, I put it across my hand, get that tail out of the way, and then put my finger this way. Just lift my finger. Okay? Now the yarn is now behind the hook. We're going to bring it over the hook, and at the same time I'm going to hold my tail. So here's our setup. I'm going to hold my tail. That yarn will go over the hook to the front. pull it through there. That's our first stitch. That's our knot, and there's our first stitch. Let's do it again. The yarn goes over the hook towards the front. Bring that hook down and through that loop. I grab it with my finger there. That's our second. And again. And again. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now you're going to practice with this. Just keep making your hoop. And I try to keep the part that's closest to the hook sort of flat to where I'm seeing those V's. Okay? Now the back side of the work is going to look like this. You're going to have these dashes that go across the back side. Dash, dash, dash. We're not going to be working in that, but that's what the back side of your chain is going to look like. Some people work through those when they begin their work, depending on the pattern. Okay, do your 84 and we'll be back. Now we're coming up here. That's 20, 21, 22, 23, and see I tension this way. I'm holding this, my finger goes in and out to tension. Yarn over, pull it through, 24, 25. That's how you keep a consistent chain. Now I'm at 25 and I'm going to take this little stitch marker, put it through that top right there, so that I know that's 25. Now if I lose count, I won't have to go all the way back. Okay? Now you can also put that, a stitch marker, when you stop, if you need to set this down, and put it through the hoop, your working hoop, okay? If you do that, trying too hard. Okay, there we go. If you do that, it won't pull out and you won't lose all your work. You could do this at any time while working on your project. Okay? All right, see you at 84. Okay, now, again, we are looking at our chain. It's laying fairly flat, and our stitches are going this way. We can see those V's. And we're just going to be working in the top of the stitch, which is this hoop on the top up here. It's that upper leg of that V. Okay? That's what we're going to be working in. Now this one here is the stitch that's on the hook needle. Okay? That's on the hook. We're not going to be counting that, but we're going to go into the second chain from the hook. That's the first. That's the second. We're going to take the head of the hook and put it right in between those two legs, right there. Bring it up, bring the yarn to the front like that. That's a yarn over. Pull it through, yarn over, and pull through both. That's a single crochet. And for this tutorial, I'm only working in US terms. Make sure that's clear for you. Okay, so we're going to go into that right there. Yarn over, pull it through. Now you have two on there. Yarn over, pull through them both. Now you see how that got a big loop? That's too big. We want to try to keep it consistent. So let's bring that back down, and I hold it with my finger and go back in, yarn over, pull it through. Now my hoops look about the same again. Yarn over and pull through them both, and that looks better. Now they look consistent. Okay, let's do that again. Go in, See, if you're pulling, you see that your stitch is in that hoop right there. We're going to go the next one, the top of that leg. Yarn over, pull it through, yarn over and pull through both. Put your hook in, yarn over and pull it through, yarn over and pull through both. That's your single crochets. Now go ahead and practice this and go all the way to the other end, and I'll see you back there. Okay, now we're coming up to our marker from before when we put a marker to see how far we had counted. We get up to that marker, we're just going to go ahead and take that out. We don't need that. So we'll just unhook it, take that out. So I also wanted to tell you that when you're working this, you'll notice how this starts to curl. Don't worry about that because this is going to straighten out as we go along. And your work here, your chain sometimes will look curled also. Okay, what you want to do is be sure as you're working along, just make sure that flat side is facing you and those V's are going in that one direction. Okay, see you when you get down here. Now we've come down here to our last few stitches, and we're not going to stitch into the knot. We're going to stitch right to it. One more, see? That's the knot. Now we're going to, at the end of this row, at the end of every row, we are going to chain one and turn our work. Now we're going to go into these stitches here, not that. That's right below our hook, see? All of that. We're going to go into these that have the two on the top, okay? So your working yarn is back here, and we're going to go into, you can see the space almost right there. Space, that space, that space. We're going to go into that space. Okay, now make sure that that's not too loose. Bring that through, and see I grab both of those, yarn over, and pull it through. And that's chain one is not going to count as a stitch now or through the entire pattern. Now you're going to go into both of those, bring it through, bring it through. Go through both those legs, bring it through, and bring through both hoops. And you do this all the way across, and now you have it's going this way. So as we were working over, it's going that way. But now that we're going this way, you can see that those legs, that V is going that way. It's another way to know which direction you're supposed to be going. So do that till you get to the other end, and I'll meet you over there. Okay, we're coming up to the other end. Every now and then I hook that, just make sure that you're going through the whole stitch and that you're not catching the yarn. And see how we're coming up there? And you can see this knot right here at the end. Little knot down, it's kind of wrapped around down there, but you see there's only two left. You're not going to go into that knot. And again, we're going to chain 1, turn our work, and we're going to begin and go into there and just keep going. Keep going until this reaches 10 inches from the bottom to the top. I'm going to make my pattern available to you on my website. I will leave a link down below. This is going to be part 1. We will come back after we are 10 inches and I'll show you how to put the first part of the notebook together. Okay, we're coming up to the last few stitches on this row. To these last couple, and I'll show you how to finish off because I'm now at 10 inches of fabric, crocheted fabric. And by now you're going to be an expert at single crochet, right? So here we're in that last stitch. We're going to chain 1, take our hook out, leave ourselves a good tail, cut that, then pull that through. That's one of the nice things about crochet is that you can pull that through there and that stitch is no longer going to go anywhere. So as you can see, I hope you can see all of our fabric. Oh, you may not be able to see all of it. Let's do it this way. I changed places on you. Okay, so now we are at really close. Can you see that? My other tape measure said it was 10 inches, but close enough. Because I checked it with my book. And it is going to be fine. So now in order to sew this together, and this is all I have left of this Lion Brand jeans. I didn't have the label earlier, but this Lion Brand jeans is 3.5 ounces. It's 100 grams, 246 yards, or 225 meters. It's a number 4 weight, like I said, and it's 100% acrylic. And this is called Brand New. That cake that I showed you before had 3 skeins of the Lion Brand jeans in 3 different colors. So I used almost all of this first one. That's what I have left. So in order to put this together, I put my book on there. Okay. And I make this to where it is even. And then I check to see how far in that goes. And it's about, on this fabric, it looks like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, about 6 stitches. So I'm going to take my marker and mark that stitch right there. Okay. And then same on this other end. So I'm going to come down to this end. One, two, three, 4, 5, 6, and mark that one. And they should be the same. And what we'll do is we'll take our darning needle and we're going to take a nice generous piece of our yarn. And you can, if your tail is long enough, you could do this here. But I'm not sure if that'll be long enough. We'll try it. We can try it and see. Let's try it with that tail. So you're going to fold this where your mark is. There. Go over here and go through both legs of the other side. Now come back through both legs of this next stitch. Go through both legs of this stitch. Okay. Now come to the next one. Go through both legs of that and both legs on the other side. And you're just weaving back and forth. I lost my yarn. Just weaving back and forth through there. Here, 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 and here. And when I get to here, I take this out. Go through this corner stitch, this one and this one. And if I have enough yarn, I go back again. But this, see, I'm going to go between these two. You just want to go back and forth until you know that that is nice and tight. You're going to repeat this on all four corners. And then we're going to hide that tail by going back through, kind of weaving in and out, back through. And what we're going to do is we're going to fold this to where all of these are on the inside. So you're going to do all four of them this way. So there's this corner, and I'm going to do that over on the other corners, and they're all going to go in the same direction. And then when we fold it, all of those stitches are going to be on the inside of our cover. Okay, I'm going to get that done, and I'll meet you back. I want to be sure and tell y'all I did weigh this, and we have the cover used 94 grams from our jeans yarn. So this is a 100-gram skein, and we used 94 grams for the cover. This is what's left, so it's about 6 grams right there. I just want to be sure I let you guys know that. Okay. Okay, now here we have all four of our corners stitched into place. Now we're going to put our notebook in there. Just goes right into these corners, like so. And this side. Just like that. Now we're going to place our marker right in the center. That's where we're going to put our button. Okay? And on the same side, on the back, you want to mark the same place on the back to put where you're going to sew your latch on. So this is part one of our notebook. I hope that you have been able to follow along. And if you have any questions, be sure and email me at the address below. And I just want you to know that I have written out this pattern, and I will have it on my website, and I will leave a link to that below where you can find the pattern and you can read along with me. Okay? Any questions, let me know. I hope y'all enjoy this. Have fun today.